Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Daniel Gormali. I'm a Grandmaster from ANIC. Today I wanted to talk about a video that I saw earlier, and it was by a guy called GM Felix, I'm not sure about the pronunciation of his surname, Bloberger. So he's from Austria. So obviously Austria, that's a city in Europe, country in Europe I should say. And as he mentioned in the video, it had a historic connection to chess because Vienna was one of the sort of places where a lot of people back in the day used to play chess. You know, there's some famous cafes there, and certainly in Paris as well, France, there was a historic connection to chess. Anyway, he was talking about this standard of living that chess players become accustomed to, and how becoming increasingly difficult for chess players to make a living, particularly in Europe, because in Europe the cost of living is fairly high. When I was in Spain recently, I did read up a little bit about Spain. Apparently in Spain, salaries are quite low, but the cost of living there isn't as great, but the salaries are quite low and the rent is pretty high. So you can probably eat out fairly cheaply. You know, maybe the shopping isn't as expensive as if you live in England. Now, in the video, Felix seemed a bit depressed when he was talking about some of the things that, you know, about the lack of money in chess. Well, he's not depressed, but realistic. Now, when I looked up his FIDE rating card, it mentioned that he was I believe he was born in the early 2000s, so he's in his mid 20s now. Now you go back 10 years, he's actually made massive improvement, because he was only about 1900. If you go back 10 years, that's 2015. Obviously, he would have been quite young then, would have been 15 years of age. But now he's rated over 2500. So my feeling is, although he's making progress, something about the videos strikes me as like frustration. Now I've got to this level and somehow I didn't get the rewards that I was expecting, financial rewards. You know, I've put in all this effort into chess, I've put my life into chess, but chess is my passion, and I'm not quite getting the rewards that I was expecting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Gerard Harknick, who's a friend of mine on Facebook. Years ago I read a quote that he made. You know, he said that when he got to 2600, he thought he would be in clover, but the reality was he wasn't. You know, just because you don't get to 2600, just because you get to 2600 doesn't mean that suddenly FIDE drop a large amount of money in your bank account. You're still having to grind it out. You know, I was reading on Reddit a few weeks ago that during the pandemic, David Howe had to move back in to his parents' house because he didn't have enough money to sustain him. He didn't have enough earnings coming in. So you know, and that's the player who's been over 2700. So that's the harsh reality of being a chess professional. Go back last year, I think there's a tournament in one of these Spanish islands. It might be Mallorca or something like that. And even high-rated 2600 players almost 2700. Jordan Van Forest mentioned this. They just share a room. So it's becoming increasingly difficult because of the lack of money in chess. It's becoming increasingly difficult to make a living from chess. So I just put this microphone a little bit closer so that people can hear me properly, just in case nobody can hear me. But yeah, so it's a very interesting video that you wrote. Now, my opinion about my life, I'll just talk about my life at the moment. You know, he mentioned in the video that he was making about 30,000 euros. I'm probably making similar to that, a little bit lower actually. In fact, if you go back 10 or 15 years, I was probably making considerably less. It's probably only in the last few years because of sites like Chessable. Done a bit more coaching as well, partly through this channel. Should mention that I've had people approaching me through this channel. You get more of a visibility if you have a YouTube channel. I'm sure that was partly his thinking as well. My earnings have probably been quite a bit more, but I'm still struggling to sustain myself. I'm still living in my family home at the moment. I would like to move out fairly soon. So life is a bit of a struggle as a chess professional. Now, if I went back 20 years, or let's say 25 years ago, I was 23 years of age, similar age to what Felix is now. Would I do chess as a profession? Absolutely not. I'd probably try to find another profession. What that profession would be, I don't know, doctor or something like that. Knowing what I know now, I would definitely have tried another profession. Now I'm 48, it's more difficult. My advice to Felix would be give chess a go for another few years. If you're not making any progress, I'd say the cut-off mark for him should be 30. So he's got 5 more years to do something in chess. At 30 years of age is still young enough to retrain and get a new career. But the longer you leave it, the more you get sucked into this whole chess bum lifestyle. You know, I know that sounds negative, but it's the reality of it. You know, if you're not got enough money, €30,000 actually is not, it's not bad money, right? He mentioned in the video that people in Uzbekistan were getting bonuses from their government for doing well in the chess, whereas other players who also did well in the Olympiad weren't getting those kind of bonuses. But as some people mentioned in the comments, in Uzbekistan is a bit of a dictatorship. It's not a great life living in Uzbekistan, in my opinion. We're living in democracies. That's quite a big difference. So that was quite a important point that somebody made in the comments to his videos. Often you get these very important. That's why I say to people, leave comments down below, because you often get educated yourself as a content provider. But yeah, I would say to Felix or somebody like that, stick with the chess for now, because he's made a lot of progress. He's still improving. He's 25, 33. On live ratings, that means he's 100 points ahead of me. But I'm 48, so I'm not really somebody that he's looking to compete with. He's looking to compete with players similar age, who are like similar ambitions. Obviously he still would play me in the tournament and so on, but I'm not like really a rival, right? I'm just trying to plod along, but I'm an example. What could it's like that Dickens story. So I'm sort of like coming at this like stream of consciousness. I haven't got any notes. I just do this off the top of my head. Christmas Carol, where it's sort of like Ghost of Christmas Future. This is your Ghost of Christmas Future. This is a 24, 33 player you're going to turn into with zero money, is living at home. Like that's the reality of it. But in some ways I regret doing chess, but in other ways I don't, because I feel like there's people I've met through chess, there's experiences I've had. It's a creative game. There's people I've met through chess that I would never have met otherwise. And you can't change your past. There's no point in regretting it. You just got to try and do better in the future. I think for me, what's important is to improve my earnings, because I made a lot. I spent a lot of money last year. So what he mentions in the video is very true. I spent over 10 grand just on my own credit card last year. That's not counting cash payments. That's too much spending, right? And that's even without rent and stuff like that. I didn't pay that much rent. So it's very expensive. You're traveling around a lot. You're staying in hotels. You're eating out a lot. Maybe I have to make serious cutbacks, like not going out for meals in the evening, just eating like a sandwich from the supermarket, something depressing like that. But then you wonder why. Part of the attraction of going into chess is because you get this nice lifestyle. Well, it's not that nice. Maybe you just need to be realistic and say, look, that's why a lot of people, which he mentions in the video, stay at home and they do a lot of chess, online, but they really want to play, right? Have to write a lot of books, but books don't pay very well. Chess books don't pay very well. Chessable courses paid a lot more potentially, but they're hard to produce, and the site is very competitive. It's not easy to get your foot in the door on Chessable or get a steady stream, and it might not be what you want to do. You might want to play tournaments, right? So I think these are problems. So I think for me going forward, I need to find a way to make a lot more money out of chess, to probably double my current income, maybe like 40, 50k. And then it's possible to carry on doing the chess, but at the moment I'm going to be constantly on the breadline because I'm spending a lot, and you know, I don't have that much coming in. So, you know, I'm constantly worried. Like Hastings, for example, give you an example. At Hastings, I took a quick draw, well, I didn't take a quick draw. I offered a quick draw to my opponent. He could well have declined. That got him a GM title, but he's a young and ambitious player. He's only 16 years of age. He could well have declined. He would have been favourite on paper to win the game. He decided to accept. The reason I offered a draw in a situation where I was half point behind was because if I lost the game, I'd win £35. You know, that's what it ended up being. I wasn't certain if 6 out of 9 would win anything at all. So I'm in a situation where if I lose, I got 6 out of 9. I get 6 out of 9, and end up, as it turns out, I would have won 35 quid. If I win though, there's a big upside. I would have won 2.5k. So it was very tempting to play on. But a draw ended up getting me 780 quid. I haven't actually received that prize yet. Hastings haven't sent the prize money yet because I didn't turn up at the prize giving ceremony. I should have turned up. I would have got the prize there in cash. Probably shouldn't you know, divulge that information in case any muggers get some idea outside the Horn Tire Centre next year. You know, it could be a big crew of people, you know, waiting to pick off these like weedy GMs with their little envelopes. But yeah, so basically, I need to improve my income because obviously you look at that and you think, well, 35 quid, it's not enough, right? So I would have I had like almost no cash. I had like £2 in my bank account at that time. So if I lost that game, it's very demoralising. You think, well, I won no money. I played Citages, didn't win a prize. I played Barley Benidorm. I was lucky enough to win €200. There's a lot of players, good players from Hastings, who went back home with no prize money at all. There was a French GM, for example, was rated over 2,500. I don't think he won a prize. The Icelandic guy I played in round 8 is a really strong player. He only won about 35 quid. So you're looking at that and you think, well, yeah, you know, some players are doing okay. Like the guy who won it is obviously making decent profit. I don't think he's there to try and make money. But yeah, there's a lot of players, a lot of good players who aren't getting any prize money out of that tournament, really. Or not much prize money. I'm making enough that I'm almost breaking even on the week or making a slight profit, right? Because I'm there for 7 days. I'm there for quite a long period. You're eating food every night, so you're probably spending 200 quid on food. So I'm making a decent profit because I got the hotel paid for, and they gave me a little bit of spending money. So I made a decent profit on Hastings, but over the 3 tournaments I probably made a loss. 3 tournaments I played, Barley Benidorm, Citages, Hastings, I probably made a loss. So going forward, I think I need to somehow find a source of income. I look at someone like Simon Williams as an inspiration because he set up his own website. He's obviously a very popular social media creator. That's somebody, obviously you got Levi Rosnan, but you think, well, maybe that's unrealistic as well because he's got over 1 million subscribers. You know, he's got like 5 million subscribers on YouTube or whatever. It's something crazy, right? 6 million subscribers. That's probably not realistic, but somebody who's reasonably successful, if you put in enough work on the social media side, that is something that you could strive for. I think that's what Felix is aiming towards, or what he feels is realistic. Or you could set up some sort of business or website where you could realistically make more money. You've got to try and maximise every source of income because otherwise you're just plodding by. A lot of chess players, chess professionals end up relocating to somewhere like London. There's something that I'm seriously thinking about, relocating down south, doing a lot more coaching. When I used to live in London, I used to do a lot more coaching in schools, and now I need to coach in one school. So I think these are my possibilities going forward. Just talking about my own experience. Either maximise my income and potentially earning a lot more, or quit chess completely and get some other kind of career, or you know, you still probably have the sources of income coming through from books and stuff, and so on. You know, but I think realistically for a 24, 33 GM who writes books, I mean, I wrote 2 whole books last year, right? I worked pretty hard last year. I wrote 2 whole chess books from scratch, right? So that takes a lot of time. You don't earn that much from chess books in general. I've written a whole Chessable course, yet to be recorded, and did numerous other video courses as well. and I also wrote numerous articles. I did loads of coaching. Obviously played a lot of tournaments as well. So I did a lot last year, but obviously I probably only earned about 20k, right? Despite working my butt off really in comparison to other years. So I feel like I need to somehow maximise my earnings, or potentially I'm looking at maybe getting a different career. But yeah, obviously, even if I got another career, I would still get those earnings from Chesterboard, from the old courses that I did. You know, just to give you an example, just in January, I got payout of over £600 just from my old Chesterboard courses, which have been out for years. So just for that, but obviously that was a good period because that would have been the I think the what's it called, Black Friday. Discounts. So that's why you get a big bump for that, or possibly for Christmas period or something. I don't know, but so if I did get a decent job, at least I'd have that. Maybe occasionally do like online coaching in the evening, stuff like that. So that's one of the upsides of being a chess professional. You still got the chess to fall back on, but if you're completely reliant on chess, then the money situation is difficult. Some players seem to be lucky, in my opinion. They get a lot of sponsorship from outside sources, and they're kind of blessed in that sense. But I've had to work hard for everything that I get. It's been a struggle, to be honest with you. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, yeah, that is one possibility to potentially maybe get another career, or to potentially maximise what I'm doing at the moment. As far as improving as a player is concerned, I mean, realistically, if I got back over 2,500, it would be a miracle in itself. At my age, at 48, it's probably not going to happen. I do feel that I've had some improvement recently. If I carried on playing, I need to probably spend 5 to 6 hours a day studying chess. That's not realistic when you have to write books, you have to coach people. This is partly what this guy Felix was alluding to, that players who want to focus on the playing side of the game aren't able to, because they got to make enough money from other sources. So life of chess professional is not being a chess player. It's actually doing all this other stuff, and I think that's what he's kind of become frustrated about. Whereas I think if you go back, 35, 40 years, people generally did the chess. Maybe they did a little bit of coaching on the side. They generally did the chess, and it was, the prize money was enough to sustain you. That's no longer the case. When I first started playing chess seriously back in the 1990s, the prize money was pretty much the same as it is now. So you play a typical Open in Europe, and the prize money would be, I'm not sure they had a euro then, but the equivalent of about €1,000 or £1,000. These days, pretty much the same, but everything else is more expensive. So it's the same in England and it's the same in Europe. Everything is extremely expensive. So as far as he's concerned, my advice would be to somebody like that, give it a go for a few more years, but I wouldn't carry on after that, because if you haven't improved, if you haven't got past 2,600, or on the social media side you're starting to see a lot more money coming in, you're better off getting another career. Because when you're young, when you're like late 20s, early 30s, you can still retrain and get another career, and you will still be employed by like an employer. When you're my age, it's not impossible. Obviously, I've still got an opportunity to do stuff, but it becomes more difficult. That's why I regret in my life that I didn't do more stuff when I was younger. I've still got the opportunity to do that. But anyway, that's my video. Please leave your comments down below. What do you think about the whole current situation in chess? Do you agree that it could be improved? Do we need... it's always going to be the case, right? It's the case in other sports as well. If you're not in the top echelon of sports players, you're often struggling to get by. Somebody mentioned actually, even someone like Ivanchuk didn't get conditions potentially at the World Rapid and Blitz. He had to pay all his own expenses. That's probably why he was so upset after some of the games. Maybe he's a former world number 2. Maybe he's not doing that well financially, right? He's playing a lot of these European Opens, so he's going from tournament to tournament. He loves chess. He genuinely loves chess. Potentially, maybe he does have savings from before, but if a player like that is struggling, then what hope is there for the rest of us? Basically, is the point I would make. But yeah, I would say, have a look at other careers. If you are a chess professional, you're watching this video, have a look at other careers, and if you've got the ability to work hard on chess, then having another job is much easier. I think chess is a pretty difficult profession in many ways. It requires a lot of skill, a lot of intelligence. I was reading about Demis Hassapis, who created this kind of AI stuff, and he was obviously first a chess player, right? But he decided, well, chess was great as a hobby and great as a way of training your mind, but he didn't want to go down the whole chess route because it just felt like spending hours and hours and hours. And he was going around a tournament, and he was thinking all this brain power, has been created, but like there's almost like going into something that's fairly pointless, right? So that's why he got into all this AI. But yeah, I mean, people who do chess as a profession generally love it, and they've got passion for it. But the money situation is just getting worse and worse, and there's no sign of it's going to improve. So yeah, I do feel sorry for that sort of players like that who are young and they feel like they're disappointed by the lack of money in chess. What are you going to do? And what are you going to do going forward? So anyway, those are my thoughts. I'll keep blabbering on. I'm not even sure how long have I done the video for. It's already 11:05. I need to go and get some food. Water along to my local bakery and get my steak bake or something like that. No wonder I'm so fat. Of course, that'll cost money as well. That'll be another like 5, 6, 7 quid down the drain once I had like a coffee and a donut. But yeah, so anyway, leave your thoughts and comments down below. Do you feel that chess is a pointless profession, or do you think that for like a lower level GM is still worth pursuing, or is it really pointless unless you're... Even Matthew Sadler was 2680 when he stopped playing chess, which tells you a lot really. There's somebody who's 2680 decided actually that he'd rather get another career where the income's more stable, and he could potentially make maybe 80, 100. I don't think he started off on that kind of money, but he'd probably on 80 or 100k or more now. But that just shows you he's one of the best players in the world, and he decided it's just not worth carrying on doing the chess.